Hey, everybody, it is Tim Gillette, and we are back with another Tim Gillette show. That's right. I found another cool person. In other words, I found another cool person that I want to interview today. We love to have fun and get to know people. Now, today's guest, I really know maybe that much about. I connected with her through some other friends we have and had an interesting story. So I heard, and really, I mean, if they're cool people, I want to meet them. I want to interview them. I want to have a good time on a podcast with people I don't know. That way I get to know them. Anyway, today's guest is just that. Someone who is cool, someone who has a cool name website, by the way. All right. And I understand she's got some interesting things about her and her life, which we're all going to find out live on air. So let's bring up Teri Kerr.
Teri Kerr.
I actually said it right. Oh my God. The first time. This is the first time for everything. Anyway, so Teri, I understand that you live in Canada.
Yes, I do. I'm in Victoria, British Columbia, which is in Canada.
I thought it was just all Canada. I thought once you went north, it was just all Canada. Just like all south of us is Mexico.
Right. Yes.
Well, you know, I'm in Texas. All right. So to me, all right, there's Texas and then there's the rest of the United States.
Of course, because everything's bigger in Texas, right?
No, we're just better.
Okay.
So, and I actually understand that, you know, I mean, you've actually been to our part of the woods based on some of the things you do, I hear.
Well, I have. Actually, it's funny. I actually have only been to I've been to Texas twice in my lifetime. Once I drove through the Panhandle when I was 18 years old.
That doesn't count as Texas.
Yeah. My memory of that was I was in a convertible Mustang with a buddy, and we stopped at a gas station, and I grabbed some gummy worms, like those gummy worms. And we had another friend behind us, and I was throwing them out the window, and they were splattering on their window because it was so hot that my gummy worms were melting as we were driving. That's my memory. My other time, I was actually there for a hockey tournament. If that's not a Canadian thing, I don't know.
I figured you would have been here for the E-Women conference, but anyway.
I haven't. You know, I haven't. I've never been to the E-Women conference. So that's, hopefully, I will be able to come in August, but I've never been able to make it.
So the E-Women conference, I got to tell you this, all right? I know Kim and Sandra personally, all right? It's weird, all right? I've known the Yanceys and known them part of the business community of Dallas for 20 years, right? You know, not relationship close, but known who each other were, right? Never a part of E-Women until my friend Craig got into E-Women and connected me to Tony Caruso, which is out in California. She's now a very, very good friend of mine. And she said they were here for the summit or for the conference. She said, come on up and visit. We're at the conference. And so I go up and visit. She introduced me to Jens Johnson, who was the then chapter managing director here in Dallas. And Jens now are a great friend, but Jens is not a managing director anymore. But and that's how I got into E-Women. Well,
there you go.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I know the people who started this thing, but I never once bothered, hey, come to a conference, go check out a chapter, anything like that.
Well, there you go. Are you an actual member?
Yes, I am an actual member. I helped Jens when she was there as part of her board until basically my business got so busy I had to go, I'm sorry, Jens, I can't do this for you anymore. Yeah. But Jens got busy too, I understand, and had to step away from being managing director. So yeah, it just had happened. That's the good thing about when you get an E-Women, I heard. You get busy.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you do, for sure.
If that's not an advertisement to go join something right there, all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what is it that you do for a business, all right, outside of E-Women?
Well, like I said, my name's Teri. I am an executive coach and empowerment strategist with the Unstuck Duck Coaching. And basically, I work with women entrepreneurs mostly. I do work with the odd man entrepreneur as well, that struggle with self-sabotage and procrastination and those things that hold us stuck in the muck, and help them to get unstuck from the muck to the magic. Just a heads up, I throw a lot of duck references out there just because of the name of my business, but I let me know if I go wading pretty deep.
In other words, duck. Oh. Is that anything like my favorite thing at my conferences? I do squirrel.
Yeah, I have a girlfriend that calls him the purple chicken in the room. It's like, It just went by. Yeah.
But I mean, was the duck thing, was it something that you like, that you took to as a kid that made you, I want duck?
You know what? No. So I came from a corporate background. And when I decided I'm a cancer survivor. When I was done with all of that, I decided to switch my life and became a coach. And as I was doing that, I was speaking to a branding friend of mine. And she's like, who's your ideal client? And I said, I just want to help people get unstuck. And I was reminded of this kids book that my kids loved when they were younger. And it was called One Duck Stuck. And it was about a duck that got stuck in the muck. And no matter what she did, she couldn't get out. She was like, it was a counting book. So 2 moose clomped to the duck. No luck, still stuck. And, ultimately spluck, she gets unstuck. And so at the end, there's spoiler alert on the
spoiler alert.
But what I know about myself very clearly is that I'm a creative person. And the idea of having a business that was like Teri Kerr coaching was just not going to fly for me. I needed something a little bit more creative and fun that I could play with in the branding, that had metaphors that I could use. And I have this idea when I think about my clients, it's almost like when they have their one foot stuck in the muck and the other one's paddling around in circles and they're just getting nowhere. So helping them to extricate themselves from that muck that holds them stuck. And so the Unstuck Duck was hatched. So yeah, and it's a ton of fun. I really enjoy. I get a lot of people just being like, hey, tell me a little bit more. And you know what, as a business person, you kind of want that. You want people to be intrigued and ask the question, like, what's that all about? What does that mean? And it always great conversation starter.
I would actually create like a rubber ducky type song, sing at my events with the squeaky toy. I'm just goofy like that. I would do something like that. But anyway.
Yeah, I help people get their ducks in a row.
Yeah. So. I was thinking when you said ducks, all right, that maybe you were like, like me. There, I have a likeness to a duck as well. All right. You see from here up, it's all nice and calm. Underneath here. Yeah. You know the business type. Yes.
I do.
Got a million things going on at one time. All right. Have you ever gotten to the point where you had a million things going on at one time and you go, oh my gosh, I am like a duck. All right. Calm, but keep moving.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, for me, I think about the ducks in my head that quack, like that full chatter that's happening in my head. Generally, the best thing I can do when I get to that state is just to be, I can get creative. If I feel stuck, I'll get creative and move forward in a creative way. And then it kind of loosens everything up a bit. But if I get overwhelmed, the best thing I can do is like just zen the duck out. Like it's like, and
that's going to be my quote of the day. Zen the duck out.
Zen the duck out. Yeah. And surrounding myself with people, like I actually had a conversation earlier. I've had several conversations today and there's been a theme to it. So let's just go there, shall we? Yeah. Just about being in alignment with who it is that I want to be instead of what I want to do. So I left corporate when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Actually, I had just finished doing my master's degree. I was working full time as a fundraiser for like 60 to 90 hours a week, like crazy job. I had, tournament coordinator, registrar for the Hockey Association, raising 2 elite athletes that ate 18 times a day, and running my family as a very well-oiled machine. And when I was kind of hit by that brick, I was like, whew, I don't want to be in the hustle. Like I want to slow down. I want to be able to enjoy my day, and not just my life, but like my day, my one-on-one interactions with my dog, to be present for that. To have my kids when they do come home, because they're now 18 and 21 and,
you're not going to see them until they're 30. I'm just saying,
but when I do have them, I'm present instead of being like, oh my gosh, I got to do all these things. So anyway, life's too short. Life's too short to be miserable and unfulfilled.
It is. All right. And I've learned to enjoy life. I've learned to make fun of things so that I've got a lighter side to go, okay, and I'm sure the ducking probably got to be with that with you, but like, I let things pass. like water off a duck's back, to make duck metaphors, like water off a duck's back. I let it pass. And like, if someone come up and said to me, how do you like your ducks? I'm like, usually I like to cook it over the grill, but anyway, no, how do you like duck? Tastes like chicken, I'm a barbecue guy too, if you can't tell. So, how long have you been into the coaching business? All right. About how many years ago did this process start?
Well, I would say January 2019.
Okay.
So I really came into my own during the pandemic.
Wow.
Because at the beginning, I had actually decided, I originally wanted to coach survivors, cancer survivors, to get, that moment where you go back to work and you realize you're not the same person. That was who I wanted to be coaching. And what I learned was I didn't really want to go back there. I didn't really want to, I found that it was bringing up stuff for me. And then the pandemic hit, and I was a member of the eWomen Network at the time. And I started offering for like that first thing in the morning, a reason to get up in the morning. Like it was our time to rise calls. And I said to everybody, I'm on Zoom at 9:00. If anybody wants to join me, come. And we navigated that beginning of the pandemic together. And what I learned was that all of the tools that I had were really applicable to entrepreneurship to, not just cancer survivors, but like people that have been through something. And this is the perfect something to be through. Right. Yeah. So helping people to as a person that has a lot of squirrels, I can get sidetracked and I can self-sabotage the best of them. Like I can procrastinate, and my inner chatter and the ducks in my head that quack and tell me that I'm not good enough and I'm not able to do this. Like, it's been great. It's been an awesome pandemic. Awesome. But it's been great because I've also been able to connect with people from all the way around the world. And I never would have had that opportunity if I was in person. Yeah.
Well, I've noticed that too. I was just commenting with a friend. I'm working with another friend, and we're going to start another eWomen member who I think you're friends with on Facebook. Is her and I are going to start doing a podcast together of online banter between each other, because we're both in online marketing, and we're talking about that and the whole weirdness of what the pandemic has done. All right, and how this world just changed us so much, and and I just had a brain fart. I just went, my mind went. Okay. Anyway, that happens a lot. Anyway,
we were talking about having another podcast with another eWomen member. And
I'm always doing podcasts, by the way. But getting on podcasts, and the actual idea that we have now changed most of our businesses from, hey, I'm dealing with the people here in North Dallas, or in your case, up there in Canadian land. I'm just going to have fun with this up there in your town. And we take it from a small thing to now we're dealing with people all around the world. I interviewed, not yesterday, 2 days ago, I interviewed a lady from New Zealand. I'm like, and I built my company in 2010 to work with the American entrepreneur. Like now I've got audiences in Italy and Ireland, and why? You know what I mean? And we didn't think about that. But we never, I personally feel it's like this thing that God says, okay, Teri, you're really good at this. Let me give you the tool of Zoom. All right. And now you're not touching just the neighbors on the block. I want you to touch the world. Go.
It's, for those people that have stayed stuck in that small thinking, I can understand that some people may be like, wow, this is a lot. And I'm just going to hole up and, pass me a Twinkie on the couch and watch some more Netflix, and what's the next best thing to binge. And those people that have stepped into this space of, I now have a message that I can get out to the entire world. And I have the opportunity to have clients in New Jersey and Saskatchewan.
You don't want clients in New Jersey. I've been there.
Well,
they do need your help.
New Jersey.
I'm sorry. That was a total sidetrack I had to go with.
No, it's good. But also the collaboration piece. Like I've met people through eWomen. Like I was speaking, do you know Susan Trumpler?
That name rings a real big bell. Yeah.
Yep. She should be on your show. She is with Unstoppable Women in Business. and she's in Atlanta, I think. And, we're just like so connected. And I never would have met her if I didn't have this whole thing. And I actually became managing director in August. So I've only done it in the online space. I took over from my predecessor in August. So that's why I hadn't been to conference yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think like our managing director, which is Suzanne Johns now, that's what she did. In this whole pandemic thing is when she took over. And it's like, what I mean? Poor Suzanne. I haven't seen Suzanne in person since we've done this. You know what I mean, it's really, it's a sucky thing. But anyway, the pandemic though, really, if you look at it, and the fact that, your whole thing and whole metaphor of getting unstuck. Oh my God. So many people, this was foreign to them. You know what I mean? And they needed it. I can help them with the business side, but the life issues that come with it, I couldn't help them with. That's where I'd have to refer them to you because I couldn't help them. To me, life issues are get over it. That's the way I was raised. Well, guess what? 90% of the world wasn't raised that way.
Or they were, and it wasn't serving them.
Well, yeah, they walked away from it and they didn't. But, and that I assume became one of the top things for you because basically the whole world was basically thrown into a mud pile. And,
Well, what's the great equalizer? It's just the same as all these people we're on Zoom with. I have no idea how tall, short, fat, wide, skinny, I know nothing about them other than this box.
Yes.
And it is a great equalizer.
Yeah.
It's bringing people that have always been able to walk into a room and command the room. They still have to be like, dude, you're unmuted. Like, or whatever, or like having their cat come in, jump on their, suddenly we're all humans, suddenly we're all in the same pond. And it's just,
we all got put down into a box, and for the first time and ever, as long as I can remember, I've never seen so many dry cleaners go out of business because we don't need to press our pants anymore.
I know. Well, it's funny. I was thinking, every spring I usually do a kind of a changeover of my clothes as to whether I've, worn them in the past year.
Yeah.
Well, that pretty much got rid of my entire closet because I've been in yoga pants and t-shirts and hoodies for a year and a half.
Yeah. And my first speaking gig, I did my pajamas on and my shirt and jacket on, but my pajamas were my bottom. I'm like, it's the first time ever I can speak in my pajamas. I'm doing it. Why not? It finally avoided the rule for me. I don't wear a suit. I wear jeans, and it is in my speaking contract that I will speak to your group, but I wear jeans. All right. And for the first time, no one ever has to complain about that clause anymore.
Well, I think, one of the things that has those people that have been successful and success is relative, like whether it's successful financially or successful in fulfillment, feeling are those people that have really stepped into their own space. The people who have, kind of kicked the cookie cutter to the curb and become their own cookie. Those people that have realized what's important to them. And like somebody said to me at one point, because I'm such an extrovert, they're like, oh my gosh, this pandemic must be killing you. I was like, no, you know what? I get to be interacting with people that I intentionally want to spend time with. And it's deepened my relationships. It's deepened my communication. It's deepened my interactions with people in a much more fulfilling way. It's been awesome. It's been awesome. I don't have to small talk at the rink. I don't have to small talk at the grocery store. I don't have to, have these conversations. Particularly, I was thinking about my previous job. If I had to be on Zoom with those people that I worked with, one-on-one, love them all. They're all awesome. But if I had to go into the same meeting box for the entire day of work, I would have slit my throat by now.
Wow.
It every time with entrepreneurship being like this, every time I start to think, oh my gosh, what have I done? Or, I just have to remember that if I was in a Zoom hell with my previous position, you can pay me triple to go back. No, thanks.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, my wife got you know what I mean, basically got another company to ask her to come in and to start a new company competing with her old company, and like was you know, what do they say, like, well, what do they call the term, like basically, you know, shopped or whatever to find her and brought her in because she was top in her industry. And it's like the middle of a pandemic, she's going off to start $1 million company with a new company. I'm like, whoa. I wish I had those kind of guts. I'm glad my wife does, but I don't have that kind of guts to go try to do that. In a pandemic, I would have stayed stuck in whatever I was like, oh, I got to stay in my box. How many of your clients are just like me? Oh my God, I got to stay in my box.
So many. And it's, well, the ones that people that come to me, I like to think of the comfort zone as like two wet blankets. Okay. One on top, one on the bottom. And it's the most you want to be, do, or have of any particular thing, and the least you want to be, do, or have of any particular thing. So say, you know, and the comfort zone's in the middle. So imagine, say, money, right? So as soon as our bank account gets below a particular line, there's that anxiety of like, whoa, this is uncomfortable. I'm going to do whatever I can to get myself back up into that comfort zone. So the same goes with the top, like above that line for entrepreneurs, for all people, above that line is like our hopes, our dreams, our successes, our, you know, aspirations. And it's scary up there too, but that's where the juice is, right? Yeah. So looking and going, okay, so as an entrepreneur, okay, I'm going to be wildly successful. And then it's like, whoa, this is uncomfortable. I'm going to, you know, start, or even just starting to get out of my comfort zone, starting a new podcast, starting a new program, offering myself out in a totally different way, pivoting my business from, you know, brick and mortar to online. Anytime you go through a change, any kind of change, there's that like, whoa, this is like super interesting. And I'm not so sure I'm comfortable here. And then this stuff starts going, stay safe, stay safe, stay safe. Let's, you know, start. And then the nasty side will also be like, you're not good enough to be there. This is not your space. Get back in your hole. So, but the thing about those blankets is they're suffocating. Nothing grows in this comfort zone. Nothing.
Yeah. I can't say that I've grown in there. And I personally have ways I try to set myself up so I don't get stuck there. And I think more people should have something, a system. So like you said, I like how you use that analogy. All right. When you get down with the bank account and it goes low, I don't have that system, by the way. I don't know what's in I know what's in my business account to pay the business bills, but like in our personal account, I don't know what's in it. And that does make me not spend money. So basically, like my wife and I'll go out to dinner. She's like, take me out to dinner. And I'm like, okay, McDonald's, you know, cause I'm like, I don't want to spend money I don't have. Right. And I don't know how much is in the bank account, but we both have very big dinner spending. We go get sushi for the two of us and it's $250. You know, we have expensive taste. All right.
You just go to the beach and grab it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like we both have expensive taste, but I'm like Mr. Not Spend Money because I'm always looking at my business account. Well, yeah, I may have, you know, so many thousands in there, but like that's got to pay this bill this month. So I don't even think about it. So that makes me work all the time. So I never reach the bottom thing of, oh, I got to work harder. I'm always working. I set that up. It's the part that I go above. If I go above and realize, okay, let's just say I got $1 million in the bank. I can relax, man. If I knew that, I would relax and stop working.
You think that, but you look at all the Powerball winners and how quickly they go broke.
Yeah, that's the problem with it. Is right? That like I can't do that. That's my stuck thing that I've got to watch is not getting too comfortable up because the too comfort will kill me more than the get back to work not comfortable. You know what I mean? And that too comfortable really every time will sink my ships. And, you know what I mean? I mean, a couple of years ago when we branched out with our new brand and everything, I talking with my coach, I was creating a new event, branching out to, you know, a new brand, just bought this condo and we were rebuilding it. And it was twice the size of our old condo. But we weren't selling that condo. We were going to rent it out and our rentals. Our renter moved as soon as we put the contract down on this place, before we even started the construction onto it. Our renter moved out. So now we have 3 properties, none of them making money for us. All right.
And that's not super comfortable.
No, it wasn't. Yeah. So I sat with my coach and I go, well, every time I've ever done this branch out, I always hit this and I fail. And my coach sat me down with it and he says, let's talk numbers here real quick. What's the worst? Let's paint the worst case scenario. And I did that. That worst case scenario picture for me calmed me so much. When he said, now that you know what the worst case scenario is it that bad? I'm like, no, actually I could survive that rather well. And you know, I don't know if you have to do that with you and your coaching is to get people to go into that. Well, what's the worst case scenario? What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
You know,
I actually, you know, my sons, like I said, my boys are hockey players. And there's a time when my son was trying to decide between two options, two different teams. Right. And, you know, he's like, well, you know, this coach is good at this and this coach is good at that. And, you know, this one I'm billeting and this one I'm, you know, boarding and this one, there's all these different options. And he just couldn't make a decision. And I said, okay, buddy, what's the worst case scenario? Worst. And he's like, I don't know. I don't play. And I was like, okay, so you go to one of these two places and you get hurt. Let's say you get hurt.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario. Do you want to be in a billeting situation, not playing? Do you want to be in a boarding situation, not playing? Like you get hurt. Where are you going to be? And he's like, okay, well, I'm not planning on that, but if all else fails, I'll just come home. I'm like, yeah.
Mom will take you back.
I'll take you back, sweetheart. But yeah, it's a super effective strategy to say, okay, so because the thing is the swirl happens, right? And we're like, oh my gosh. And we're not looking at the actual data to say, what is the absolute worst thing? You know, as an entrepreneur, the worst thing that can happen is you have to get a job. That could be the worst thing.
Hey, that's a 4-letter word on this show. Careful. No.
Okay. No, but like if that's the worst thing, you know, the worst thing for me would be having to go back to that corporate bureaucratic hell that I was at before.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the worst possible thing that could have happened or could happen to me. And, you know, I mean, there's worse things. I mean, there's, you know, homelessness and not having, you know, whatever. Anyway, I didn't need to go there, but you know, if that's the worst case, you know, I can handle that. I've been there. I've done that. I know what it's like. And I've moved on and I can make a different choice. I can make a choice at any given time. Yeah.
And it's interesting you say that, Teri. You know, I sold my car. I had a car wash business, sold in 2004, 2005, like 8 months later, I was homeless living on someone's couch. 8 months after selling $1 million company, I'm homeless, sleeping on someone's couch. And it comes back to, I told you my comfort saying, oh, I got this, I'm good. Yeah.
It might be why you have the strategies you have now with money.
Probably. So,
right. We learn and we create strategies about it.
So 8 months later, I'm living on someone's couch. All right. And just looking at my life going, man, I went from there within 4 years to owning several rental properties. All right. And digging back out of it. And I remember I worked part-time at the time at Starbucks. And I want to say this has been about 5 or 6 years ago this happened. The Starbucks that I have by my house now, one of the guys was there who was one of my bosses when I started at Starbucks. And I came in after like a good coaching day a good day where I ran my coaching program. I think I sold like 6 or 7 masterminds, you know, and I mean, a big paycheck.
You guys celebrate with a frappuccino.
Yeah, I'm celebrating with a frappuccino. And he's like, you're in a good mood. And I, not thinking, blurred out the number. Like, this is the number I made today. All right. And I thought, like, for a second, why did I do that to him? Like, now I'm there criticizing myself. Why did I do that to him? This guy knew me when I was homeless. Am I bragging to him or am I what? And then immediately I started backtracking it. Like, well, yeah, you know, I was a business person before I worked for you. And he turned around to me and he goes, Tim, you're successful. I'm proud of you. It's good. You're okay. And I'm like, this is a kid who was my boss when I worked for Starbucks, is sitting there giving me a coaching session. Go, no, Tim, you're successful. I'm proud of you, man. That's awesome. I'm glad you had a great day. Okay, I'll take my frappuccino now.
Yeah. It's so funny how often we don't celebrate when we've made it. Because we have this is, again, it's a scarcity model, right? It's that thought of, you know, I have this awesome thing and it's going to get taken away from me. Yeah. And I'm going to lose it and I'm not going to do the right thing. And it's that, you know, get back in your zone, right? Get back into that space. And, you know, for me, I find even I was on Clubhouse earlier. I host every Thursday. I host a thing on Clubhouse called The Empowered Entrepreneur, and it attracts people from all over the place. And there was a lady from Texas in there, and we were talking about the enough, and how, we never think we're enough. Like, when is it that we'll actually get there and, arrive? And if I've learned anything about entrepreneurship, it's like, celebrate along the way, because the next step is going to be different. And the next step is going to be different. Right. And you're not going to arrive and be like, huzzah, I have arrived. That's just not how it works.
And Teri, it's funny that you say that, because in my life, in 2003, I lost one of my best friends. He was 34 years of age. Brilliant businessman. Partnered with him in 2 businesses and stuff at the time, and lost him. I was staying at his house while he was on vacation with his wife in Mexico, that he came back in a body bag, and she came back. And when she got back to the house, she said to me, he had a Porsche and a Ferrari. Now, I'm not into cars now like I was then. She had to ask me where the keys were to the Porsche and Ferrari, because he never told his wife. I had to go get them for him. That's how close a friend I was with this guy. She hands me the keys to that Ferrari, and she said, go take it for a ride. I did. It was an enjoyable ride. It was a cool car, right? And all that stuff. When I brought it back, the best advice she gave me, that is still, it still rings. Her name's Holly, and it still rings in my head when she said it. If you ever get the chance to get your dream, do it. Don't put it off. And then she said, Richie had the chance to buy that Ferrari, and he could have afforded to buy that Ferrari 3 years ago, and he kept putting it off. He bought it, literally drove it 4 times. 3 weeks after he bought it, he was dead.
Yeah.
And I remember it, because I would later in 2011, I would buy my dream Harley Davidson. And my wife and I, literally, it was like on the edge. We could afford it on the edge. And we did it. Most of us will put off that dream, like you said. All right. And that's exactly what came to mind when you said that to me. I'm like, wow. Don't put it off. You don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't know what tomorrow's guaranteed. Even this pandemic has got to be the one place to say that. All right. That we don't know what tomorrow brings. And I'm sure, that's probably one of the biggest things you've probably helping your clients with, guys. If now's not the perfect example of you don't know what tomorrow brings, I don't know what is.
Yeah. When I was in cancer treatment, my radiation oncologist told me that a lot of people, women particularly, when they're faced with this at the age of 4, I was 41 when I was diagnosed, they'll take a look at every rock in their riverbed, and they'll pick it up, and they'll be like, is this serving me? Is this what I want for my life? And if not, they'll chuck it. And those rocks might be our relationships. They might be volunteer opportunities. They might be career. My career was the one that went for me. But a lot of my relationships also went by the wayside. It's like, what is this getting me the experience that I want for my life? Mm-hmm. And that practice has changed, getting that. And it is a practice. It's like an everyday looking at in every moment saying, is this going to be getting me closer to what it is that I want? Mm-hmm. Or fulfilling me in a way that I want for my life? Or am I just going to be putting in the time and effort and not doing that? And I spent so many years, like I worked in my previous career, I was there for 10 years, and just like miserable and toxic. And it wasn't so much that it was toxic, it's that I became toxic. Yeah. And then, God whapped me over the head and said, okay, well, here you go. Yeah. Right. And for me, it was an eye opener to the life that I was living, the stress that I was putting my body under and myself. At that point, I didn't know if my relationship with my husband would survive it, because a lot of relationships don't survive that. And it did. It's way stronger than it ever was before.
Cool. Awesome.
But the big thing was I really figured out who I wanted to be. Who do I want to be in my life? And I really hope that it doesn't actually take any kind of diagnosis or tragedy or trauma for people to have that mirror put up in their face. Like,
Yeah.
Why does it have to take something
Why
like that?
wait that long?
Yeah.
Why, you're right. Why wait that long? We should never wait that long. I love it. So, and you know, and that's not, I mean, that's not a journey I really asked you about much today. And I probably should ask you about that because it sounds like it was a defining moment in your life. All right. Going through that
Yeah,
journey.
it was.
Yeah. You know, anytime dealing with cancer, all right, and in any fashion, all right. You know, my wife had a skin cancer on her arm, all right, but they said the word cancer, and I went white as a ghost. And then she was, don't tell anybody. I don't want to tell anybody. I don't want anybody to know. And I'm like, yeah. In my mind, I'm going, oh my God, what am I going to do if you're not here? I can't live without her here. Exactly. I'm proving that right now. She's in Boston for 2 weeks, opening up a new store, and I'm here by myself. And this morning, I damn near passed out before I went, oh, I forgot to eat. I don't know what I do without my wife. Anyway, but that's it. It's like, it's a defining moment that really, really messes with you. And do you talk to many women's groups about that and talk about your journey?
I have. I try not to, I mean, and you know what? I'm an open book. People can ask me any question anytime. It's just totally I'm there to be a support person for whoever is needed. And, you know, I find I do get a lot of people saying, hey, I have a friend, you know, how can I support them? Or can you talk to them? And I absolutely do. But I also don't focus on that. You know, and it's totally, for me, it's something I don't go woo very often, but what you focus on grows. And so I really don't want, I don't want it back. So I try not to. And that's what I found mostly when I was, because I actually, I don't know if I've already said this. I may have said this already because I know I've said it today, but I'm not sure if it was on this call. But when I was coaching cancer survivors, I had a program called Pivot, from Survive to Thrive. Before pivot became a word in, you know, this, just so you know, I had it first. And before
it was a 4-letter word. Yeah, we get it.
Yeah. And so I had this program, and what I found was, and it could have been just the people that had signed up for that program to begin with, that they were not ready. They weren't ready to have that next move forward. They wanted to kind of stay in there. But for me, I had a moment where have you ever heard of Tofino?
No, I have not. Yeah.
It's the west coast of Vancouver Island. It's this magical place. And it's like a wild like really wild beach. Okay. It's a town on the west coast of Vancouver Island. Tons of tourists come to experience this space. And it's, I went out there for a week, and I had this, you know, scream at the wind kind of moment where I realized that I didn't want to talk about it anymore. I didn't want to talk about cancer. I didn't want people to be coming up to me going, hi, how are you doing? And me being like, oh, today's a really bad day. I didn't want that anymore. I didn't want it in my life. I didn't want the conversations, and I didn't, and I was going to move forward into a different space. I had to have that moment where I really went, wow, you know, I have a sticky on my wall. I have lots of stickies. I'm a sticky girl. I have all these stickies, but the one that speaks to me the most, it says, am I creating the experience that I want right now? And at any given time, I can say to myself, you know, is what I'm doing right now getting me closer to what it is that I want for me and who I want to be? And so, hi people.
That was right? Robert. Like, we had Tony popped in too. So
I did. I saw that. Hey, Tony. But yeah, like, am I creating the experience that I want right now? Am I creating the experience in my business? Am I creating like, you know, when you're thinking about a wedding and you're like Momzilla?
Yeah.
Right.
I've not experienced it personally, but I've seen it. Anyway.
You've seen it, you know, like, I don't want to be that. And it's funny. Both my boys now have girlfriends, and we're at the getting to know them stage. Right. And my kids are terrified that I'm going to be like, so, you know, tell me, are you creating the experience you want right now? Like, let's talk about your future. And that's not what I want, because I'm too busy thinking about me going, who do I want to be as a potential one day, not necessarily with these girls, no stress, no pressure, but as far as a mother-in-law, if that ever happens, creating that relationship from the beginning. I have the opportunity to create a different type of relationship than I would if I were just like, hey, welcome to the house. I'm not going to cork in the ocean, float along and just wait for the world to toss me the way that I want to, or that it wants to.
It's interesting to see the journey you've been on with this. And you know what I mean? We do have things that guide us, and we do have things. I like how you explained that some of the women going through the cancer, or most of the women going through cancer, like to go through the rocks and throw out what they don't want. And I like how you just gave the example of it. Listen, this is what I don't want. You know what I mean? And I think that becomes huge in our lives when we decide what we don't want and go, okay, I need to eliminate it. Mine came at 9 years of age when Dad got laid off, and I realized we weren't going on vacation that summer. And I'm like, I don't want that job thing. I can tell you that right now. I don't want that job thing. But it's funny how it's always something like that defines us. You know what I mean? And makes us go, okay, line in the sand. I'm not going back there. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people allow other factors to draw that line. So when I was just saying about being a cork in the ocean, floating along like a cork in the ocean, it just depends which way you're going to go. So many people go through life like a cork in the ocean. And at some point you want to be able to take the reins and choosing and being intentional and being super clear about what it is that you want. Yeah. So, and what are the results you want to get in your life, whether it's, not allowing things to trigger you, like even if in a relationship saying, okay, normally when you say something like that, I respond in a certain way, but I don't want that. Yeah. I don't want that anymore. How can we do this differently? Right.
And that's it. I mean, I love it. And it looks like, you've spent the past few years digging through that, even through COVID, which is great. So I have one question I always like to ask though, Teri. This is because something happened to me when I was 21 years of age, is I had a boss who gave me advice on the job, which turned out to be life advice. And basically he was telling me to, run the job like I own the company. All right. And that has caused me to take ownership of everything I've done my entire life. When you were younger, did someone give you a piece of advice that's like still cements in your head and you go, okay, do it in it. I got to do it in this. Got to do it in this.
For me, I would say I have so many. How do I choose?
That's a good thing, by the way.
Yeah, it is. But, I'm thinking about a defining moment where I had, speaking of bosses, a super defining moment for me. I went to her with an idea for something and she said, Teri, it's not in your job description to be innovative. And that was a turning point for me where I was like, wow, I'm in the wrong place. And now every time I have a situation where I'm innovative, because I am at the core creative, I'm a creative warrior. Like that's what I do. And if I'm not in that, then I'm like, oh, okay, there's a flag. Yeah. This is a flag that this is not the way that I'm intended to go.
Yeah. And that is a huge one. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think most people, and a lot of people who are even on the call today probably have never, ever gotten to the point where they realize, hello guys, that should be the wake up call. When you get things that say you're not going to go the way you're meant to go. All right. That should be a defining moment in your life where you go, okay, I got to find a way out of this one. Yeah. And I'm sure you didn't quit on the spot, but you probably went, it's probably time to find someplace else to work. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And actually that was before the job that I left that was toxic. Actually, that one got me into that other one.
Yeah. Well, before I started my car wash, Teri, I worked for a truck repair shop here in the Dallas area. I managed it and everything. And like I said, I got to take care of myself. I've got a form of epilepsy, so I got to take care of my health. I've got to watch what I eat, got to maintain things. And I was so stressed out that I wasn't eating, wasn't taking my medicine, and I had a seizure. And my boss had to get on his plane from Florida and fly up here to Texas so that he can help take care of the business, because They ran the guy who running the business off in an ambulance. And he basically sat there when I come back from being at the hospital. He sat me down and he said, we were able to hide this up until now. We can't hide it. And it was within 24 hours I came back and went, I hate working here. And he said, good. Now that you've admitted it, let's find somebody to replace you. Mm-hmm. And he, you know what I mean? And I was scared to admit it. And most of people won't admit, like where you are in that point. All right. They won't admit, like, because they're scared of what's going to happen. Yeah. I was scared. The second I admitted it, he went, okay, great. I need you to help me to find somebody and train them to run your job. And he said, and then anything you want, I will help you get it. And literally until that man died, he was there. Anytime I made a phone call to that man, hey, Dan, I need so-and-so. Sure. He'd made a phone call and get it for me. And I'm like, and I was scared to tell him. And the man became one of my greatest assets for being an entrepreneur. Yeah.
One of the questions that I also refer to is a Mel Robbins quote. Does this energize you or does it deplete you? Mm-hmm. And following the energy will get the alignment and the flow going way faster than, trying to force your way through.
Yeah. I use a complement or contaminate guideline. If you come into my life, all right, and I see you as a relationship that's going to contaminate what I'm trying to do with my life and where I'm trying to go, bye. But if you're going to complement what I'm going to do or what I'm trying to do, great, let's work, right? Mm-hmm. And that's my meter for who I let into my life or what I let into my life now. All right. And I'm sure you probably I'm sure you're probably doing stuff like that with your clients as well right now.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Totally.
So this has been a long conversation. I didn't realize what, I mean? I usually try to go 45 minutes and we're a little bit over time, but anyway, we've had too much fun. So we've had fun. We've been serious. Anyway, what, Teri, is the best website that people can connect with you because they're stuck like a duck?
It's actually www.unstuckduck.ca is my website. .com will put you to .ca. I'm in Canada though, so unstuckduck.ca.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good website. I thank you for coming on here and being honest with all of our people here. And do you have an offer on there for them or a newsletter or something?
Yeah, I have a freebie. It's putting off your purpose, prevailing over procrastination. It's basically a procrastination guide. I also offer free duck row analysis for those people who are looking to get their ducks in a row and want to see kind of an assessment of. So you can go on there and book a free call with me. I'm also on all social platforms at UnstuckDuck. Mm-hmm. And I have a Facebook group called The Empowered Entrepreneur, From the Muck to the Magic, that I would love it if people would join.
Cool. So, well, it's been fun having you on. But before you go, I have a little game I want to play.
Fun.
Yep. We end our broadcast with a fun game, and I've got 9 questions specifically for the Unstuck Duck.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Number 1, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Star Wars. I love Star Wars people. They're just so cool. So, number 2, dress up or yoga pants?
Yoga pants.
You have yoga pants on right now, don't you?
Well, yeah.
If you don't have anything on, don't tell us. Yeah.
I was going to stick my leg up in the air, but no, it's good.
All right, so let's stick with that. All right, when we get to go back out again, are you going to be a heels girl or a boots girl?
Boots.
I love it. Like the boots we wear here in Texas, or work boots?
No, we wear Blundstones.
Oh. What? Okay. We got to find out what's Blundstones. I don't know.
Oh, well, they're a type of boot. Yeah. They're pretty clunky work boot type of boots, but they're a very West Coast Canadian boot.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to look that term up now, huh? Mm-hmm. All right. So then when you come to Texas, let's go down and move on. When you come to Texas, are you going to have a taco or a hamburger?
Taco.
I love taco people. When you get up in the morning, coffee or tea?
I don't drink either.
Beer or wine?
Okay. Wine. But not for breakfast.
I was going to say, hey, that's a pretty good breakfast, but no. So you live in Canada, so I've got to ask this one. Mm-hmm. Snowball fight or water balloon fight?
Snowball fight.
You're like my first snowball fight in a long time.
Well, to be fair, I don't like wasting balloons.
Yeah.
The environmentalist in me just goes, no.
Yeah. Okay. The next one, only because I figured out that you were a hockey mom, is I got to say, what's your favorite NHL team, the Red Wings or the Canadians?
The Red Wings.
I love it. A Canadian who's a...
Okay, so just hang on a second.
Okay.
There's four family members. Yeah. I'm a Red Wings fan, diehard Red Wings fan. My husband's an Oilers fan. My sons are Chicago and Boston.
Okay.
There are no Habs fans in my family. Mm-hmm. None. And in fact, there's a couple teams that we specifically will not cheer for. The Habs are number one. Okay. To be honest, Dallas is another.
Why? It's because we moved from Minnesota down here, right? Yeah.
Well, it's because of that always hitting the Edmonton Oilers first round.
Oh, wow. So I have over the years, I'm not like a super fan. But I've gone to a lot of games. I lived in Boston in the 80s when the Bruins went to the Stanley Cup. I lived in Philly, when the Philadelphia Flyers went to the Stanley Cup. The first year I moved to Dallas, the first time Dallas goes to the Stanley Cup and wins. And I'm like,
yeah, but Brett Hull was in the crease.
Yeah, that was 22 years ago. I mean, I haven't been back, but anyway. Okay. I'm not a sports fan either, by the way, Terry, but when I moved here, I had the idea moving from Philly to Dallas. I said, you know what would be really cool in life is to live in a town that wins a Super Bowl. That has a Super Bowl team. Like they win the Super Bowl in a celebration. Mm-hmm. The Dallas Cowboys have not been back to like the second round of the playoffs since I've moved here 22 years ago. Wow. However, the city that I left that I'm a fan of in the NFL, if I've ever had a fan that had never been to the Super Bowl, won its Super Bowl finally.
There you go. Yeah, I'm a Packers fan.
Yeah. So, I mean, well, being the North, all right, I can see that, all right. But I threw out there, I had no idea that you were a Red Wings fan, and I was trying to put in two teams, and I was trying to put, like, which was the better team, thinking, like, maybe you were going to go, because I know the Canadians have won more championships than the Red Wings, all right. I was trying to play that game, but we'll see. Anyway.
It's okay. I you know what? So Brendan Shanahan, if he's listening to your podcast, or if anybody knows Brendan Shanahan is my soulmate. He just doesn't know it yet. And my son is actually named after him. Uh-huh. So that's not weird and awkward at all. Suddenly I'm going to get like this tap, tap, tap. Hey. But yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So let's move on to the last two. Now we're going to move to the controversial questions.
Great. Okay.
Toilet paper. Does it go over on the roll at your house or under?
Over.
Over. All right.
There's nothing controversial about that. That's just the right way.
Oh, no. Terry, I have had the people on this show who are like all like, rainbows and sunshine and unicorns and love. And why can't we just all get along? And I ask that question and fangs come out.
Okay.
And I'm like shocked, right? But the best answer is this girl Cammie last year had, and she was a single girl. And she said, listen, that's my dating parameter. If I go to a guy's house and we're dating and I change that toilet paper from under to over 3 times, I break up. This relationship's going nowhere.
I could see that.
So, and I had Scott McCain on the show once, and Scott said, when I worked in my radio days, you used to ask that question and the phone lines would light up. Anyway, my last one, boxers or briefs?
For me or for someone else?
Hey, you pick whatever you want. I'm not picking, you know what I mean?
Boxers.
Whether you like to see them or you like to wear them, I don't care.
Boxers.
Okay. Yeah. I actually did have a gentleman on about 3 weeks ago, and we actually had the show went on for an extra 20 minutes while we talked about what underwear we wear. And I'm like, only on my show can you get two guys talking about the underwear they're wearing. Anyway. One more time, Terry, tell them your website so they can come find you. Make sure the people on the audio can hear it as well.
Okay. Visit me at www.unstuckduck.ca. And I'm on all my socials at unstuckduck.
Cool. Well, thank you for being on the show today. I've really appreciated getting to know you live on camera.
It's great to meet you, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Let's go. Hey, to you guys, the listeners, I want to thank you for being here today. Go to unstuckduck.ca. Check out Terry. Hey, and if you know somebody who's kind of stuck in the muck right now, I understand she's got some things that can help you out. I think she may even actually have ways for you to connect to her with a free newsletter. All right. A Zoom call she does, a Facebook group. I think this is the place you need to go to get unstuck. Just saying. I'm Tim Gillette. Be sure to subscribe to our show on wherever you get your podcast, as well as our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tim Gillette. And I'll be back with another cool person real soon. In the meantime, have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.